Politics is changing fast and every decision shapes our future. In today's video, we're breaking down the latest headlines, the key players, and what it all means for you. Whether you're here to stay informed or spark debate, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. Pierre Poilievre's recent Canada First rally placed a strong emphasis on national identity, coinciding with increased concerns about U.S. policies under Donald Trump's administration. Standing in front of a massive Canadian flag, the Conservative leader used the occasion to reaffirm his commitment to defending Canada's economic interests and sovereignty. Poilievre marked Flag Day, a largely overlooked national observance since its inception in 1996, as an opportunity to showcase his vision for Canada's future. His speech, described as a pivotal moment in his political career, underscored his intent to counter potential American tariffs and economic policies that could threaten Canadian industries. The rally also signaled Poilievre's deeper embrace of the Canada First slogan, aligning with nationalist rhetoric while maintaining his long-standing economic policies. He took the opportunity to highlight how leading Liberal leadership candidates have shifted closer to his positions on key issues such as the carbon tax, capital gains tax, and resource development. Despite this perceived validation of his policies, Poilievre reiterated his commitment to cutting government spending, deregulation, and tax reductions. He framed his proposed tax cuts as both the largest and most patriotic in Canadian history, aiming to solidify his leadership vision ahead of the next federal election. Donald Trump remains highly unpopular in Canada, with recent polling from Abacus data showing that 69% of Canadians view the U.S. president negatively, while only 18% have a favorable opinion. However, some supporters of Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre appear more receptive to Trump. Among Conservative voters, 31% hold a positive view of the American president, and this number rises to 37% among those who support Poilievre. This dynamic presents a challenge for Poilievre as he balances his appeal to a broadening voter coalition. Political analyst David Coletto warns that if Poilievre appears too closely aligned with Trump, or fails to distance himself from controversial positions, he risks alienating moderate supporters. Conversely, a strong rejection of Trump could create backlash among the pro-Trump faction within the Conservative movement. Coletto estimates that about 12% of the Canadian electorate supports Poilievre but dislikes Trump. This group may be particularly sensitive to any perceived ideological alignment between Poilievre and the former U.S. president. While there are clear distinctions between the two leaders, Poilievre does not campaign on anti-immigration rhetoric or question democratic election results. His embrace of anti-establishment, populist themes echoes elements of Trump's political style. At a recent Canada First rally, Poilievre sought to present himself as a leader ready to counter potential U.S. trade threats under Trump. However, as Canadians weigh economic concerns, they may also question whether populist rhetoric and division are the right path for the country. Poilievre's ability to navigate this complex political landscape will be crucial as he positions himself ahead of the next election. Foreign Affairs Minister Mélanie Joly has warned European allies about the economic and political risks Canada faces under the Trump administration. Speaking from Brussels after a diplomatic tour of France, Germany, and Belgium, Joly said she delivered a wake-up call to European leaders who may not fully grasp the challenges unfolding in North America. Joly noted that while European nations have their own concerns regarding Washington, they have not been vocal about Trump's threats toward Canada, including potential tariffs and his suggestion of annexation. She stressed the importance of strengthening economic ties with Europe to protect Canadian jobs and counter possible U.S. trade measures. During her visit to Germany, Joly attended the Munich Security Conference where she discussed trade, Arctic sovereignty, and security collaboration with European and U.S. officials. While she met with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, the issue of annexation was not raised. However, Joly said she made Canada's position clear to several U.S. senators on the matter. Her discussions also focused on reinforcing defense and intelligence sharing efforts between Canada and European nations. Joly emphasized that as the U.S. shifts its global stance, Canada and its allies must work together to safeguard economic and security interests. President Donald Trump announced plans to impose 25% tariffs on automobile, semiconductor, and pharmaceutical imports, with a formal decision expected by April 2nd. This move would significantly expand his ongoing trade war, following previously announced tariffs on steel and aluminum set to take effect in March. Trump indicated that the new levies could increase over time, giving companies a chance to adjust before full implementation. The proposed tariffs on automobiles could have a major impact on the industry, as imported vehicles accounted for nearly half of all U.S. car sales last year. European and Asian automakers, including Volkswagen and Hyundai, are likely to be among the hardest hit. However, Trump did not specify whether these tariffs would target certain countries or apply to all imports. It remains unclear whether vehicles imported under free trade agreements with Canada and Mexico would be exempt. Trump has previously used tariff threats as a negotiating tool, raising speculation that this latest move may be part of broader trade negotiations. The administration has defended tariffs as a means to bring manufacturing jobs back to the U.S. and generate additional revenue. However, many economists warn that such measures could increase consumer prices and hinder efforts to control inflation. President Donald Trump announced plans to implement reciprocal tariffs on a country-by-country basis as early as April, though specific details are still being finalized. The move is part of his broader trade strategy, which has already seen a 10% tariff imposed on Chinese imports. Trump has also threatened to levy 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico, though these have been deferred until at least March 4th. If implemented, the tariffs could compound existing trade barriers, potentially forcing Mexican and Canadian producers in certain industries to pay multiple duties. Gold prices edged higher on Thursday, staying close to record levels as investor concerns grew over U.S. President Donald Trump's tariff policies and their potential to drive inflation and disrupt global trade. Spot gold rose 0.2% to $2,938.57 an ounce as of early trading, following an all-time high of $2,946.85 reached the previous day. The increase comes amid heightened economic uncertainty after Trump imposed a 10% tariff on Chinese imports and a 25% tariff on steel and aluminum earlier this month. He has also signaled plans for additional 25% tariffs on automobiles, semiconductors, and pharmaceutical products. Minutes from the latest Federal Reserve policy meeting revealed concerns that Trump's tariff strategies could push inflation higher, reinforcing the Fed's decision to pause interest rate cuts. The central bank kept its benchmark rate at 4.25% to 4.50% last month, and signaled it would hold off on further reductions until inflation trends closer to its 2% target. Gold, traditionally viewed as a hedge against inflation and geopolitical risks, continues to benefit from investor uncertainty. However, high interest rates generally weigh on non-yielding assets like bullion. Other precious metals showed mixed movement, with spot silver holding steady at $32.71 an ounce, platinum slipping 0.2% to $969.70, and palladium remaining flat at $968.38. Market watchers await comments from Federal Reserve officials later in the day, which could provide further insights into the central bank's policy direction. A U.S. appeals court has rejected former President Donald Trump's effort to end automatic birthright citizenship for children of immigrants born in the United States. On Wednesday, the Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals upheld a lower court ruling that blocked Trump's executive order, which he signed upon returning to office a month ago. The decision prevents the administration from implementing restrictions on birthright citizenship while the legal battle continues. The ruling, issued by a panel of judges appointed by presidents from both parties, stated that the administration failed to demonstrate an emergency requiring immediate action. The case is expected to move forward with arguments scheduled for June, and it may ultimately be decided by the U.S. Supreme Court. Trump's executive order directed federal agencies to deny citizenship recognition to children born in the U.S. if neither parent was a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident. Democratic attorneys general from 4 states, led by Washington, challenged the order, arguing that it violated the 14th Amendment. The Justice Department sought an emergency stay to temporarily allow the order to take effect, but was denied by the court. Similar rulings in Maryland, Massachusetts, and New Hampshire have also blocked the order, with the Justice Department appealing those decisions separately. This marks the first appellate court ruling on Trump's birthright citizenship order, reinforcing legal obstacles to his broader immigration agenda. The United States and India have long maintained strong economic ties, with trade and investment forming a key pillar of their bilateral relationship. In 2024, total trade in goods between the two nations reached approximately $130 billion, making India one of the U.S.'s top 10 trading partners, according to the U.S. Trade Bureau. The main goods exchanged between the two countries include pharmaceuticals, machinery, mineral fuels, textiles, and agricultural products. While both nations impose tariffs on imports, discrepancies in duty rates have fueled tensions. India generally applies higher tariffs on agricultural products compared to the U.S., and while the country also levies higher average duties on textiles and apparel, the U.S. imposes steep tariffs on select textile categories. Concerns over these tariff imbalances have led the U.S. administration to push for changes. President Donald Trump has threatened reciprocal tariffs on Indian goods, arguing that the U.S. should not accept duties that disproportionately exceed those imposed on American exports. However, implementing such measures could be challenging, as the U.S. has binding tariff ceilings, set at approximately 3.5% for non-agricultural products and 5.5% for agricultural goods, limiting its ability to match India's tariffs directly. As trade negotiations continue, both nations will need to navigate these disparities to maintain a stable economic partnership. That's it for today's deep dive into the latest political developments. Whether you agree or disagree, the conversation doesn't stop here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Stay informed, stay engaged, and I'll see you in the next one. Let me know if you want a different tone, more serious, engaging, or even humorous.